Hello, so today we're going to talk about GDPR. That's the General Data Protection Regulations. This is the second part in our look through some of the laws that affect business. Now, this law came in a couple of years ago to replace the laws that were in place previously to that. Now, it is EU law. So you might think, well, we've had Brexit now, so maybe it doesn't apply anymore. But this has been transposed into UK law, which basically what that means is that we as a country have decided to take this e-law as being one of our own. That's gone through Parliament and all the official things that need to happen. So it does now count as UK law. The main thing that changed from previously was that there's a much greater need to give consent to hold information. So if a company has any information about you, they have to have your consent to hold that information. There's greater control on what companies can hold and what they can't. Special categories we will look at. Okay. Automatic decision making basically is when the computer makes the decision, and we'll look at that too. One thing to remember is that now large companies, anything with more than 250 employees, have to employ a data protection officer. And of course, there are punishments for those companies that don't comply with these laws. So those people that might be thinking about going into business yourself, it is something that you'll need to know. Those of you that are a little bit more keen and want to have a look at the whole regulations, you can look at the legal information at this website here. Much stronger controls than there were previously on things like holding information about the race, religion, politics, etc. of an individual, because really those things shouldn't be that relevant to an employer. And the other thing that was very new was regulations about things like biometric and genetic data, mainly because they hadn't been covered under old laws, as that kind of data was rare or non-existent back in, say, the 1990s, whereas now it's becoming increasingly common. So consent for information now, we need to have a positive opt-in. Now, what that means is that the company must ask the consumer whose details they are keeping to positively agree that they can keep that information. It is not enough for them to say that we didn't tick a box to say no. You have to tick a box to say, yes, you can keep my information. Automated decision making, again, is one that we don't need to cover in very much detail in this particular course, but it's worth knowing that machines, more often than not now, are making some of the decisions. Machines will look at CVs for employees, machines will look through customer databases, and they might decide who will and will not be contacted in certain circumstances. So actually, the fact that there are laws as to what those machines can hold in terms of information is quite important. And don't forget that the public have rights. We have a right to be informed so that we know what information is being held about us. We all have a right to access to information about us. We have a right to rectification. That means that if information is incorrect, we have a right to ask that it is rectified, put right. A right to erasure. In some cases, we have a right to ask for records about us to be deleted. Remember, any human being has a right to restrict processing of their information. Data portability refers to data being moved around the country or even around the world. And we have certain rights with that. A company can't sell our information abroad without our permission. And we have a right to object. We have a right to say no to companies holding our information. So thanks for watching. Quick one this week. Hope you enjoyed that. Don't forget, if you still need to catch up on last week's and you're my students, then do please have a look at that. Otherwise, there'll be another one of these next week.